All right, two components that are simultaneously lifting that knuckle. We have the jack right here. That's the more important one. And we have the rep lever here. And at the same time that the toe of the jack hits the let-off button, the rep lever hits the drop screw. So that should be simultaneous. That happens at the same time. And that's when you feel a little bit of a shelf. You feel a little bit of a, so you go down there, you can feel it. And then aftertouch is all of the key travel. So watch, if you look under here, you'll see that that key still has a little bit to go, even though we're at let off. We're at the point of escapement. So aftertouch is this right here. Watch the key, focus on the key. Okay, that's aftertouch. So we have key travel, hit that shelf, and aftertouch. Okay, that's the crucial thing right there.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I've noticed sometimes the shelf doesn't feel as strong. Does it matter like how strong or how much you feel the shelf?
Not necessarily, and sometimes that's an issue with the action, and sometimes maybe that could be an issue with if they're not hitting simultaneously, then it's not syncing up, and so it kind of feels a little bit mushy, that shelf. So there's almost like, rather than one strong shelf, there are two weak shelves. But it also could, yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's a regulation issue.
But there is lost motion, right?
Lost motion, I mean, some people say there's no such thing as lost motion on a grand, that lost motion is more something that applies to uprights. And it's very obvious, and when we do more work on uprights, all of this, by the way, when we get to uprights, it's gonna seem so much easier, because this is more complex for sure. Okay, so Tim has been having a lot of epiphanies. He's been really excited. He's been telling me like twice a day how excited he is that he's having these epiphanies, which is awesome.
Dreaming about pianos.
Yeah. Curtis actually said last night. Was it last night? This morning. Okay. So Curtis is dreaming about pianos, having epiphanies. Like I said, you're not going to get it the first time, or at least you'll kind of get these concepts that we talk about. But then the next day I'll be like, now what was that? What did we talk about? Aftertouch and dip and blow and let off, and how do all these things mix and work together, and what were the three things that we need for aftertouch, and what are the three things that we need before we regulate a piano, and how are those different, right? But then once we talk about it a few times, and this happens, this is how it works. This is how it happened with me, this is how it happened with my mentors, this is how it happens with everybody. And then you do a few pianos, and then you forget a few things, and then you do a few more pianos, and then pretty soon it's just like second nature. And so you get it. Everybody gets it. Everybody will eventually get it for sure. So if you're not getting it, don't be frustrated. It'll come. All right. So we'll just finish up this review, and then we'll move on to our next step here. So Curtis, why don't you share what your epiphany was this morning?
Yeah. So I guess my epiphany was, what you do when you set the samples and how that works with the regulation. And so you set your samples. Well, you do all the let off, and that doesn't change. You do the dip with the key block, and this is the part that I guess made a little more sense to me, is then you set your blow to get the correct aftertouch after the dip and let off is set. And then the dip is all the same, but then once you line up the hammers, that changes the blow, and so then you have to change the dip to get the right aftertouch.
Good. Yeah. Okay, so the traditional method of getting dip is just to go from key to key with a dip block, right? And get your dip block correct on all of these, so you're setting your dip based on what the dip block says. And what I'm saying is that's good for the samples, because that gets you basically in the ballpark. But of the three things that affect aftertouch, let off, dip, and blow, that let off, we just want to respect the number. We want to respect, I guess, the textbook, which is 1/8 of an inch. Is what we use this for, that dimension. Or on an upright, it's a magnet that's 1/8 of an inch thick. Okay, so we respect that. So that's let off. Dip, we get with the dip block at first, just on the samples. And then blow, we don't care what blow is. There is a textbook rule for what it should be, but I say, forget it. Don't even pay attention to it, because you can adjust the third factor, which is your blow, in order to get correct aftertouch. So we have our let off correct, we have our dip correct, like Curtis was saying, and then we're going to manipulate the blow so that we have aftertouch correct. And once we do the dip block on just the samples, then we determine our blow distance, and then based on that blow distance, we go through key by key, and we're basically going to set the dip based on what our aftertouch gauge tells us. I don't know where the aftertouch gauge is. Okay. So that's a much more accurate way.
Might be done by the piano. Do you want
Okay,
me to
great.
check?
Yeah. So that's a much more accurate way of doing it, I think. Okay. Thanks, Curtis.
Yeah.
Good epiphany. And if this feels like review, I'm sorry, but thinking back to when I was learning this stuff, I need this repetition.
Yes, please tell me again.
Yes. Right. Okay. What did the C? What was the middle C issue? You guys fixed it.
It was the rep lever height. It was too high.
Okay. Cool. Great.
So
Nice
sometimes
job.
it was holding the hammer up, sometimes the hammer dropped down to the jack.
Down to the jack. Okay. Perfect. Okay. And none of the other keys are doing that?
I checked it.
Okay. Well, I mean, they seem pretty good. It seems like the height is pretty consistent. All right. So what are the next steps? Anybody know?
Well, we still need to do the hammer height alignment over there.
The hammer height alignment
Yeah, on that first section, right?
on the base? Yeah.
And maybe on the third one too.
Maybe refine it a little bit. Maybe that one has a...
And after that we have to do the back checks.
Okay, let's do this. Let's, rather than doing the whole thing with key slip and the fall board, I'll just quickly fix the ones that are slightly out of alignment, so we can quickly move to back checks, and then we'll refine our aftertouch, or refine our dip based on aftertouch, and then the only thing left at that point really is just kind of troubleshooting, because there's always troubleshooting, especially on an older piano. And then then this piano's virtually done. So we need wire bending pliers. So grab first couple. We'll just go ahead and grab the wire bending pliers. There's two pairs there.
these
the
ones?
different pins.
Here.
That's what I thought.
So
What's that?
Yeah.
Oh, yep, there it is.
Are those the ones that are small?
Okay, we're just gonna be done. Great. Camera line's great. Somebody grab the action model. Flip this around. All right. Thank you. wire bending pliers. So the wire goes in the direction of the bump of the convex, right? Okay, that's the direction that it goes. So again, just to review, we're only worrying about left-right first, and we want everybody see over here. We want that tail right here to be contacting the center of the back check. Okay, that's the goal, and then we also want the back checks to be parallel, straight up and down. That's all we're doing. And I think Jordan, you've done most of these, right?
Only some.
Only some.
I think
okay.
I have to go back and do work on jacks.
I did like 2.
Okay.
First showed us how to do it.
Okay. So we only make bends, and this is a general principle for pretty much all of wire bending, which there's wire bending here, wire bending in dampers, wire bending, I guess, somewhat maybe in bridle wire in an upright. Is that it? Anyway, the principle is you only make bends. Oh, and then dampers. Dampers in both uprights and grands. There's a lot of wire bends. You pretty much with except for like the dog leg in grands, which we'll get to at some point. You pretty much just want to, for now, just focus on making the bends at the bottom and top. Don't worry about the center. In fact, don't touch the center. So I'll start here on this section. We'll start here and then go up while someone else starts here and moves up, and then we'll just kind of hopefully come up together. Yeah.
Where's this hammer?
That is gluing.
Oh,
Right
okay.
over there.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, that actually looks okay. That's hitting the center. That's all right. I think Jordan must have done
So when you don't hit the center.
this section. Okay, there's one. Have a look at that.
Oh, it's fairly off to
Yeah.
the side.
Okay. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to find the convex side, go down to the bottom, and give it. Like it moves a lot with not much of a. You gotta have a strong hand, but you don't want to go too far. Okay. So now it's tilted. It's not parallel with its neighbors. So then I'm going to flip it around and go up to the top here, and then straighten it. Okay, I can go a little further. So back down at the bottom with the convex going that way. Might have gone too far. No, it's good. Okay. All right, somebody want to start on this one? So Jordan, you've done it a lot, right? Or not a lot?
Not a lot, but
Okay.
I do have experience in how to do it. So
Okay.
if you can do it.
Yeah.
So I noticed you press down the key as you would bend.
Did I? I don't know.
But do you not need to do that?
More just to check it.
Okay.
And by the way, we're assuming that the hammers are aligned, right? Which that's something that Jordan did a few weeks ago.
But with how many have kind of broken, we have moved them around some.
Okay. Well, if we do any significant realignment of hammers, then we'll deal with that.
Can you remind me the bump?
So are we doing sideways?
Yep. Can we grab a couple things? I need let's get another pair of wire bending pliers, and then let's get the pinning